I'm here with Nahaz. Alan.
What's up?
You want to do a little introduction for people that don't know you?
Sure. I am Nahaz. I am a college professor. I do Dota stats as a hobby and recently have been lucky enough to be invited to a few of these events and hang out with you guys.
So how good are you at Dota? You're on the analyst panel now with these pros.
No. I am a 4K player, and I probably don't play at a 4K level even right now because I don't get a lot of time to play in the last couple of weeks. But I play enough to have a lot of fun with the game and to make some of these numbers make sense.
Oh, you're going the other way. Like most people are like, I don't play at a 4K level. I play at a...
No. I am a 4K player. I'm not sure how I'm a 4K player.
Okay. And what's your analysis? Give me your MMR of your analysis.
Oh, my MMR of my... Well, I don't know.
7K.
No, I don't know. See, I think the big thing maybe that I bring is something a little bit different because, you know, on a pure ability versus ability matchup analysis of the game, I mean, I don't think I'm on the level with Ben, certainly, but maybe I think I bring something a little bit different to the panel.
Okay. And do your students watch? Do they play Dota? Do they know that you're on here?
Okay, so until recently, I think I went mostly undetected, but after I did my first LAN in Columbus with MLG, I started to get people walking up to me on campus, which was actually really funny because the first few people that did were like law students, med students. I mean, you know, guys that are busy, but they play Dota apparently, which I think is really cool. And of course, you know, one of my students.
I was a law student.
Were you?
Yes.
There you go. I mean, it really is surprising. There are a lot more people in esports and that play Dota than you think that have a lot of education, professional careers. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a 14-year-old's game.
So what do they say to you?
Hey, we like what you did mostly, which is a little crazy, but that's what they say.
Do any of your students that you actually teach, are any of them like, oh, this is really cool, our professor's on TV?
A couple people, yeah. I mean, one guy, there was a really hard question on the final, and he wrote, I don't know the answer to this question, but I know C9 is going to win TI5. I was like, full
so
credit.
Wrong on both accounts.
Hey, come on.
I was just kidding.
Flavor.
So you teach, what subject do you teach again?
So right now I teach financial economics. So I teach markets, stocks and bonds, all that. I actually taught, when I first started working at University of Chicago, I taught basic statistics for 10 years, which at that point, I was actually pretty unhappy about that. I'm an economist by trade, and it ended up being a lot of fun. I mean, I found statistics very boring, so I taught baseball, I taught poker, and that really was what gave me a lot of practice making numbers both make sense and be somewhat entertaining.
So what do you think is missing from stats analysis in Dota right now? Like, what do they need? Because right now, you know, I'm sure you've looked at this, big sports like the NBA. There's a big movement to do more analytics. Mm-hmm. What's the next stop in Dota analytics? Like in 5 years, what are we going to see?
Well, I think the next sort of great hurdle is having better player value metrics. That's something that we learned how to do in baseball. And basically the idea in baseball is you convert everything to runs and then you convert runs to win probability. And in basketball, the big revolution was figuring out tempo
plus minus
statistics and adjusted plus minus. Yeah, and it's one of the big, a lot of people will compare basketball and Dota for obvious reasons, but that's one thing. You have a source of variation in basketball with different players subbing in and out of a 5-game lineup for the same team that you don't necessarily have in Dota. So you have to find another source of variation there. But I think that's the next big hurdle that we've got to cross. And in particular, I think the single biggest thing, I will know that I have a reasonable player value metric when it correctly values supports.
Okay. And values split pushing versus kills.
Yes. I think the single biggest thing that we need that we don't have now is a way to measure a player's contribution to the taking of map objectives, because we have assists. We don't necessarily see tower assists, but that's something, you know, for the first time recently, we're starting to have a full set of data all kills, all wards placed, all towers taken down, etc., by time and by map location. Towers, obviously, map location is obvious, but we now see the locations of kills. We see the locations of all wards placed. And so there are going to be things in the next month, the next year or so, that are going to be coming along. The Dota equivalent, for example, of the NBA shot chart is not far off. And I'm really excited about that because a big thing about statistics, it's not just the numbers. It's making people be able to see the impact that these things have on the game.
Do you think that we're ever going to have a metric like win shares or something that just says like one number that just attributes a player's effect on the game? Or is that just impossible?
Sure. I mean, we are going to have such a number. I've played with a couple of variants myself. The main ideas that I've tried so far have all failed drastically for the obvious reasons. It's very hard to come up with one measure that values both core and supports correctly. But the number one thing when you look at statistics is you realize all numbers are flawed. All stats are bullshit. And it's just a matter of learning the limitations of a particular stat. Win shares, value over replacement players, WAR, all of these advanced metrics have their limitations. All of them have obvious examples that people like to trot out of players that get undervalued or overvalued by certain metrics. It's just a matter of learning the limitations. And I think certainly any such metric, any such one metric that you would come up with for Dota would have its limitations, but that doesn't mean that it's not useful. That doesn't mean you don't look at it.
You know what I want to see?
What?
I want to see a statistical way to evaluate drafting.
Yeah. So a few friends of mine have played with that. A guy named Knoxville who does a lot of numbers for me and publishes his own ELO rankings. Very, very cool. I tweet out his site all the time, but I can certainly do that for this interview as well. He has played with a variant of a chess engine that analyzes Dota 2 drafting. I personally think that there are a lot more variables that need to be taken into account. I don't think that in Dota there's such a thing as one optimal draft. I think optimal drafts vary a lot across teams. That you have to personalize such an engine, but it certainly is theoretically possible. Very
complicated though. Like you'd have to factor in how the heroes like interact with each other, like what the win rates are, all that stuff.
Right. I mean, it's a very high-dimensional problem to begin with over 100 different heroes. And then when you start trying to take player and team play styles into account, it certainly becomes even more difficult. But again, that's actually one of the things that's been happening in economics lately is that some friends of mine, and I've done a little bit with this myself, high-dimensional methods from statistics are getting used all over the place in academia now. I actually think adapting something like a lasso or some machine learning algorithms for Dota is something that will be done at some point, if not by me, by somebody.
So a thesis. Get someone on it, PhD program. Yeah,
absolutely.
How fun would that be?
Actually, it'd be really fun, and I'm starting to have people contact me about that semi-regularly. So
you're gonna do it. You're gonna be the first one.
I think I may. There are some guys in Europe that wrote a spatial statistics paper about Dota last year, sort of a skill-based algorithm that measures how much teams cluster up and how much teams spread out at various points of the game. I thought it was a very nice paper. Some limitations, obviously, to any sort of simple analysis like that. But they contacted me a couple weeks ago. We're gonna talk about some stuff. There've been a number of graduate students from around the world that have now gotten in touch with me saying, "Hey, I've got these ideas." And as with all research ideas, it can be hit or miss. But the most important thing is there are a lot of people out there that are very smart, that love numbers and that love our game. And that's how progress gets made.
You gonna get a grant?
We'll see.
Crowdfund that.
I detest grant writing. That's mostly why I started my career at a very rich business school because I don't like having to write NSF grants. But I'm in Canada now where you have to write grants anyway. So we'll see.
We'll crowdfund it.
Kickstarter, baby. There you go. Yeah. All right.
No, yeah, you release an item with it.
Oh, okay. I've got to have
game.
The stat hat.
Yeah, like a statistics hat or something. I don't know.
Okay, that's legit. Yeah. I could do that.
And then it gets crowdfunded, and then you can do an analysis on that too.
It's got to be good though. It's got to be like I got to get an Anuxi or a Dan and M on board, man.
They will. They'll do it. You're a nonprofit. They'll do it. They'll do it for free. Sure.
No, not really.
Okay. What's it like being on this panel with all these Dota experts?
It's crazy, man. I mean, like I say, my whole goal, I tend to talk too much. I tend to profess, but my whole goal is really to learn from them. I try to bring something different to the table where I can, but these guys have a ton of experience. They're true pros. They do troll each other constantly, but they are true professionals, and they have a lot to say that I think the community wants to hear. And really, if what I can do is supply a few numbers and supply some energy and make what they have to say that much more engaging, I think that's a contribution right there.
So, if you're teaching regularly, how do you you just do you miss any classes going to these events or what?
Not yet.
Not yet. So it's worked out so far.
It's worked out so far. It starting this fall, I probably will have to call in some favors from some colleagues because there are going to be some events that conflict that I do hope to attend. But it's okay. I mean, I think nobody's ever going to question my commitment to teaching. Okay. Like I really do. I love it. It's still what I live for. I still am thankful each and every day before I get up in front of my students, and same thing for Dota as well. So I think when you have a real passion for something, people see that, they understand it, and they give you a little leeway.
And do you write any fun Dota-related exam questions?
Not yet.
It's not, people do that, and you can do it fun way without actually influencing the.
No, I think that's right. I mean, actually, one of the things that I became quite sensitive to at Chicago was I would tend to have a lot of baseball or poker or something related questions on exams just for fun, just because to keep it fun for me as much as them. And some of my my non-native English speaking students actually would say, you really have to watch that. The terminology that you tend to use when you talk about things like on-base percentage, for somebody that's not necessarily growing up in the States, it's a little less natural. And so
don't worry about that for Dota.
There you go.
Global game.
It is a global game. I'm looking forward to that. And actually, the answer to your question is yes. I've thought about it. I probably will do it next year.
Yeah. Put TI in there if the prize pool, some statistical thing.
Why not? Yeah.
So since you're the statistician, have you run a model on where the compendium's going to end at?
I have not actually done compendium forecasting. I had a bet that I should have made last year with Toby. He thought that TI5 was going to reach 15 million max, and I actually thought
we're going to above that for sure.
I was going to say, I thought it was going to be quite a bit higher. I think 20 million is realistic, but I think that's the magic number.
And so you know 538, right?
Yes. I know. So I know 538. I don't know Nate that well, right, but I know some other guys.
We should you should make a similar Dota statistics blog.
Well,
and guess what it should be called? It should be called 322. I
could never have guessed.
And you
never have guessed.
No, this is my idea. It's a good idea. You should have the statistics blog and release stuff like that. How great would that be? Actually,
so it may not end up being me because the Dota-related time I have is limited, but there have been myself as well as a couple of friends of mine that have actually talked with 538.
Oh, nice. So okay.
It is not, I don't think it's something that's going to happen right away, but I do actually think at some point in the future you may see some esports content on there. I know a couple of those guys pretty well.
Well, I'm excited about that.
Work.
Damn, okay. All right. Okay, well, tell us a little bit about what you do in your free time, if you have a lot of free time at all. I don't think, probably not. Just play some Dota. What else? Tell us about your family and stuff.
Oh, well, shout out to my family. My wife is incredibly patient for marrying me to begin with, and even more so for putting up with this. My free time is mostly Dota. My 19-month-old now daughter, who I really like. I'm into fatherhood. I mean, you're
into fatherhood.
Oh, you have it bad when you sit down on a plane for a flight across the Atlantic over here, and there's a baby sitting next to you, and your first reaction is aw, not damn it.
Okay.
So yeah,
so you're in deep.
Okay. I got it bad. But I really love wine because it's a hobby that requires no skill. You just have to drink the stuff.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
So you like wine?
Yeah.
The movie Sideways, that get you into it?
I hated that movie because the movie is basically all about Paul Giamatti's life sucking. I was like, why is this enjoyable? I mean, our own lives are hard enough.
It's what that movie like single-handedly like killed Merlot.
It actually, you know what? That movie shits all over Cab Franc, and I actually really like Cab Franc. So I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. I know there's a game going on right now, so you got to get back and watch and like do all that stuff. But do you have any shout outs for us, other than your family?
I mean, obviously, a big shout out to ESL for making this happen. In all seriousness, this is one of the best and most exciting events I've attended in any capacity in my lifetime, and it's really an honor to be a part of it. And I mean, shout out to JD for putting up with my shenanigans, and really to Toby, because when I first heard Toby cast Dota back at TI1, I heard the same passion and enthusiasm that I feel every time I get up in front of my students, and that was probably the single biggest factor in me becoming interested in the game.
And you have a call out? Give me a call out.
You call out?
Yeah, it's the opposite of a shout out.
Yeah, opposite of a shout out. Yeah. Well, let's see. Should I call out Blitz for touching everyone? Should
touching everyone?
Should I?
Maybe you should call out Jacob then.
Should I call it? Well, no. I'll call out Jacob for just. Ordinary people have levels between appropriate and inappropriate. I mean, from Jacob, you go from 0 to butt cheek sweat in like seconds. Yeah. There's no middle ground.
That's good. You're keeping it real. All right. Well, thank you, and I look forward to the stats stuff.
Yeah, my pleasure, my friend.